So now we go to Security Council Resolution 1325. It is for this very purpose that the Security Council chose to pass Security Council Resolution 1325 in October of 2000. Now, as all of us know here, the member states of the UN are bound to implement the mandates of the Security Council. The Security Council Resolution 35 is founded on international humanitarian law, such as the 1949 Geneva Conventions and the 1977 Additional Protocols. It is also founded on international human rights law, such as the Convention on the Elimination of all forms of discrimination against women and the Convention on the Rights of the Child, as well as on the 1995 Beijing Declaration. Now, so you're probably thinking, why is there another resolution, 1820, which was adopted 8 years later in June 2008? The Security Council thought that it was alarmed that despite repeated condemnation of sexual violence against women, it had not been reduced, but had become actually widespread and systematic and achieved appalling levels of brutality. I'd like to show you this matrix that shows 3 kinds of sexual violence environments. Sexual violence can be isolated and random or relational, in which case it is a domestic and criminal matter that has nothing to do with political strategy or international peace and security. It could also be widespread and opportunistic, whereby armed groups and civilians take advantage of the conflict and chaos to attack women. Lastly, it could be widespread and systematic, where sexual violence or rape is deployed consciously as a method of warfare by armed groups. This sexual violence environment is the very thing that 1820 seeks to address. Here are the 4 key elements of Security Council Resolution 1820. 1, it explicitly links sexual violence as a method or it explicitly links sexual violence as a tactic of war with the maintenance of international peace and security. Thus, it will no longer be possible to portray rape in war as an issue that does not warrant the Council's resolution. To recognize sexual violence as a security issue is to justify a security risk. Hence, the Security Council now has a clear mandate to intervene, either through sanctions or by empowering its peacekeeping personnel. Third, it demands that parties to conflict adopt concrete protection and prevention measures to end sexual violence, including training of its troops, enforcing military discipline, upholding command responsibility, and prosecuting perpetrators. And fourth, it asserts the importance of women's participation in all phases related to ending sexual violence, including peacekeeping. Now, I'm going to show you this table just so differentiate the 2 resolutions. Okay, 1325 is the first resolution to link women to the peace and security agenda. So it addresses the impact of war on women. But 1820 is the first one to recognize sexual violence as a self-standing security issue linked with reconciliation and durable peace. 3025 seeks to avoid giving amnesty to perpetrators where feasible, whereas 1820 takes amnesty off the table when the government is negotiating with perpetrators. So there is no amnesty if the perpetrators have been categorically found guilty of committing sexual violence. Third, it provides for training on protection rights and needs of women. 1820 provides for specific training of troops on categorical prohibition of sexual violence. 1325 cites the need to maintain the civilian character of refugee or internally displaced persons camps and to design them in a way that helps prevent sexual violence. 1820 calls for the development of mechanisms for protecting women and girls in and around UN-managed camps. 1325 makes no reference to sanctions for perpetrators, although it does mention the impact of sanctions on women. While 1820 states that sexual violence should be subject to country-specific sanctions regimes. So I'm not going to go through the rest, but suffice it to say that 1820 is a significant improvement on 1325. And to reinforce the effect of 1820, two other Security Council resolutions have been passed recently. 1888, passed in September 2009, calls for a special representative to the Secretary General on ending sexual violence in conflict. That is now Margaret Wallstrom. 1889, adopted in the same year, urgently calls for immediate measures to ensure the physical safety and security of women in order to enable them to meaningfully participate in all phases of peace processes. So I'm coming to the end of my presentation. I just want to show you, actually let you hear from the mouth of our Secretary General himself, to show you how sincere and determined he is.
Special announcement from the United Nations. 16 days campaign to end sexual violence.
Dear friends, I am United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, and I denounce all forms of violence against women. Attacks on women cause more than individual suffering. They are a direct threat to peace. If you witness crimes against women, speak up. Speak up. Join me in condemning violence and calling the perpetrators to account. My message is this: protect women and we will protect your country's future.
Okay, that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.